Hi, and welcome to the Gen X Rewind podcast on this lovely Sunday in Arizona. My name is Evan.
And I'm Brady.
Hey, Brady. Been a busy couple weeks, I think, right? At your household anyway.
Yeah,
So we haven't had a chance to talk. We had the NFL draft. We're going to get into that a little
yeah.
bit. We've got some things on that. We've got a lot of stuff on the show today. I've got a show and tell. I've got some trivia questions for us, and I got a post of the week. We'll do our three questions or something akin to that. But just as a reminder, now in our 16th show over the last 6 months, we've got we're just Gen X guys, right? So you're like, what? Why are these guys famous? We're not. I got news for you. We're not famous. Um, but we're Gen X guys. We like to talk about things from a Gen X perspective. It's mostly us talking about current events through our eyes and talking about the days gone by that were better.
Fonder, fonder memories, fonder.
Yeah, fonder memories. It's mostly just an organic conversation. Anything goes. We're not particularly woke or politically correct. So if that bothers you, please look away because we wouldn't want to scare you with all our scary thoughts about stuff.
Yeah,
It's mostly PG, so you can listen with the kids in the car on your way to soccer events or sporting events or whatever else you might be doing in the car. It's a good thing to pass the time. Just listen to two guys talk. And one day we shall surpass Joe Rogan
that's
as the
right.
number one podcast in the world. So that's the goal. I mean, we
Yeah,
set lofty goals for ourselves 25, 30 million listeners a week. Yeah, that's what we're headed for.
that's right.
We
Yeah,
might be 80 by that time, and
yeah,
we'll have corrective lenses and all sorts of stuff going on. But that's the goal anyway. All right, current events. The NFL draft was this past weekend,
yeah.
and uh, it was first thing, why was it in Green Bay? It was like 30 degrees there. There's 20 people who live there and they're all drunk, right? Hey, I'm from Green Bay. I'm not fat and drunk, you idiot.
Yeah, yeah. I'm surprised. They probably had to at least once every 100 years.
Yeah, so Cam Ward said he wanted out of there as soon as he could because there was nothing to do in town. And I'm
Oh,
like, sure, you can get fat and drink. That's what you do in town. And go to a Packers game. Oh, there's only 8 of those per year.
uh,
So there's not much else to do. I can lovingly say that because I've hated the Packers my entire life, and my sister happens to live near there, so it's good to make fun of it, right? Like,
well, what do you make of them bringing back former Packer legends and no Brett Favre or no Aaron Rodgers or it's amazing how
yeah, they
he didn't make the cut.
no nobody can disassociate themselves with a player that won them a Super Bowl faster than the Packers
Yeah.
fans, right? Like it's amazing. They have two Super Bowl winning quarterbacks in the last 40 years, and they now detest both of them because they decided to leave.
Yeah.
Or I don't know.
Yeah. I
Holy cow.
I think a good example is, Patrick Peterson plays most of his career in Arizona. Then there's a little bit of a tiff. He doesn't get signed. He goes and he plays somewhere else for a few years. He comes back. They welcome him back to
Yeah.
retire an Arizona Cardinal, and everybody's happy. But they'll never do that in Green Bay. Once
No.
Green Bay, it's like you're dead to them.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's like, I think about it like, for the Diamondbacks, if Goldschmidt, who left at the peak of his career, when he comes back and plays, when he comes up, everybody cheers him.
Yeah.
He was a
Oh,
great player for us. What was not to like about him?
yeah. To pretend there's no business aspect involved in professional sports and that you're to remain loyal to us, at all costs
It's
is
not happening anymore.
not
So
realistic. Yeah.
no, you got to get over yourself. So
Yeah.
anyway, Cam Ward, despite his not wanting to be in Green Bay for the weekend, gee, I can't imagine why. I like the guy more every minute when I heard that. It's like, hey, he's smart. Number one draft pick overall from Miami. Now it's interesting because there's a little bit of connection here. My team happened to play Miami in a bowl game and beat them. And Cam Ward sat out the second half. And a lot of people didn't like that. Like, if you're going to play, play, right?
Hmm.
Now they'll say it was a coach's decision. I'm pretty sure it was an agent's decision,
Yeah. Right.
right? Threatening the coach that nobody I will ever play for you again if you get my quarterback hurt.
Yeah.
Um, I'll be interested to see because he's got skills. Um, but I don't know. It's such a crapshoot with
Uh,
quarterbacks. It's unbelievable, right?
yeah. You never know. You get a Tom Brady in the fifth round, or you have an Eric, what was his name? Eric Leaf, and you,
Yeah,
you know,
Ryan Leaf, was
Brian.
second and like flamed out in like one season. It's just like
Yeah.
the Cardinals drafted Josh Rosen, and people were saying, "Oh, he's NFL ready." What did the dude play like 6 downs in his entire career? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
he was a big nothing. So number two was Travis Hunter, who's the two-way player from Colorado.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about this is, like you mentioned, Patrick Peterson. So Pat P played both ways sometimes for the Cardinals, right? In fact, three ways because he was a special teams punt returner.
Yeah.
And then occasionally he would come in on special plays on offense and throw the ball. He's an incredible passer, Patrick Peterson. I'm sure he played probably both ways in high school and was the quarterback and then a cornerback or something, right? Um, but what you find out in the guys who play both sides of the ball, it's very hard to maintain,
Oh yeah.
right? It's so brutal on your body. And Travis Hunter he's good. He's good as both a receiver and a cornerback, but he's not great,
Yeah.
right? So he didn't grade out as the top receiver and the top cornerback, right? Not at all, right? So if the two-way thing goes away because he can't maintain it in the NFL where the guys are 300 pounds who are landing on you, and he can't maintain it, then you've got a slightly better than average, whichever one they decide to go with, right? Either a receiver or cornerback.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't think he's Deion Sanders, and I don't think that he's any of these other guys who went both ways. Um, you never know. It just in the NFL, that's like one player every 40 years that could maintain it,
Right. Well, it's
right?
like what, 32 games a year if you're playing both offense and
That's
defense.
it. Yeah. I mean, it's
Double,
crazy.
yeah, you doubled the chance to get injured on, you're doubling the number of plays that you're in a year. So yeah, like you said, I think wear and
He's in
tear.
the right place though, because he's on the Jaguars, and you know, you're going to be better than most of the players that they have.
Right.
So he's going to get a chance. He'll start and he'll be
Yeah.
one of their better players probably. A lot of edge rushers taken in the draft. That it's amazing. It used to be like running backs were like big time
Yeah.
drafts, and now it's edge rushers. Like everybody taking an edge rusher. Uh, the local team for us, the Cardinals, went all defense. Right, every single player was a defensive player.
I don't think I've ever seen them do
No,
that.
I don't think so either. Like usually in the fifth or sixth round, you take a flyer on a wide receiver or a something, right?
Yeah.
Backup quarterback. But they must have had a plan, and that was we are drafting all defense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what that tells me is we can't count on Kyler Murray to get us 24 points a game, and we're stuck with him. So we got to hold the other team to 21. And that means having drafting defensive players, right?
I'll Trent Dilfer.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, some of these guys who won Super Bowls
yeah.
because their defense was so good and they were average, right? Trent Dilfer was like 12 for 22 for 165 yards, right? But the defense was really good.
Yeah, I think, overall, I mean, like you said, you don't know. It's all a crapshoot, really. And I mean, these scouts, they do their homework, and they find out, if they think that their talent is going to translate in the.
Yeah.
But the Cardinals drafting that cornerback who was supposedly a top 10 pick, but because he had some knee issues in the past,
Yeah.
on him. That could be really lucrative for them if he's healthy. They were able to get a top 10 pick. Uh,
Yeah.
that's
It's like
yeah.
you cross your fingers on that one. And it's like, Baltimore did the same thing. They took this guy who was graded out as to go 11th,
Yeah.
and they got him in like the fourth round because he'd been accused of two sexual assaults.
Oh, only two.
But he's like a top, 15 draft pick, and they got him in like the third or fourth round. So, if they get this cleared up and it turns out this was false or there wasn't, whatever, they could have just gotten a steal.
Right.
And in about the fourth round, that's where it's probably worth the chance,
Yeah.
right? Like to take a chance on a guy like that because you could just capture lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
But a lot of teams are afraid of the issues that he had, the legal issues that he had going on, and that can go either way. I mean, the guy
Well,
could be in jail 6 months from now, and then he never plays, right? Like,
yeah. Even the Cardinals' first round pick, they were saying that he was rated as one of the top defensive linemen. He's got all these great, great
yeah, the
stats.
guy from Ole Miss, Walter Nolan, right? Like, yeah, he graded out pretty well, but
And at the very end, they say, well, there are some character concerns. And you're like, oh, no, don't say that. Let's not, I liked everything they had to say about him. And then,
yeah, I know that's the thing. It's like,
oh,
you know what? I'll take some of the character things as long as the character things are not he's lazy.
yeah,
Because we've seen that in the past. The guys who don't put in the work,
yeah,
they suck,
yeah,
right? And they can hide it, Johnny Manziel, for
yeah,
a game or two, right? But in the NFL, it'll expose you fast. And
yeah.
if you haven't put in the work, you're going to fail, right?
Right. And the Browns definitely learned their lesson after drafting Johnny Manziel.
Yeah. So, well, they've learned not to take a guy like that in the first round. Let's
Yeah.
say that maybe, right? They have like 20 quarterbacks on their roster right now, so it's going to be a free for all, right? And
Oh,
that was another big story. Shador Sanders falling from him and his dad thinking he was a top five pick, which was never going to happen. Even if he nailed a combine and the interviews and everything else, he was 13 and 12 as
yeah.
a college quarterback.
Yeah.
There's guys out there that were in national championship games that are undrafted free agents who
Right.
had tremendous records. There's a guy named Brock Purdy who beat Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl and escaped being undrafted by one spot,
Yeah.
right? He was a sixth rounder, seventh rounder, end of the round, Mr. Irrelevant, right? But he put up way better numbers, had a more successful career than Shador, beat Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl in his junior year, and he almost went undrafted. And then here's Shador, 13 and 12 on thinking he's a first round draft pick.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. Not a chance.
Yeah. It is. It's really it. And listening to the comments and the things people are saying, and saying, well, these quarterbacks never had to endure, almost like the owners are trying to teach him a lesson because he's not humble and that's why he's falling down. If there's an owner in an organization that thinks that this player could be the next, Tom Brady or insert your Hall of Famer,
Yeah.
they're not going to pass.
Nothing matters. Nothing else matters.
It's money. It's filling the seats. It's
Yeah.
creating a dynasty. If this guy has that kind of talent, it's not because of the color of your skin or because you're
No, it's none of that. It
and
doesn't even matter what college you went to or anything. It's
no, it's
they would overlook all of that. And if he had bad interviews, but he was showing it on the field consistently, they would overlook that. But it's all of those things combined, and you're going to get calls from his dad every day
yeah,
telling you you got to play him like this, and you got what coach. And if you saw when he was drafted by Cleveland, it was a golf clap in
yeah,
their war room. They were all like, "Yay, we drafted Shador," which means the owner told them to draft him.
yeah. They probably forced their hand.
Plus, they already got the quarterback from Oregon, so they have two draft quarterbacks. Plus, they had three guys already, including so Deshaun Watson is going nowhere because his contract is worth $50 trillion
Guaranteed.
guaranteed. So it's like he's going nowhere. He's
Yeah,
staying. They're not going to get rid of Flacco because they have to have one guy who has experience,
right.
right? So it's between the other three guys playing for the third string quarterback role
Yeah.
and then crossing their fingers that one of the other guys gets hurt. So that's going to be interesting. And it's Cleveland and they go through quarterbacks. Just the irony of him going to Cleveland is not lost on a lot of people, right? It's just like,
No.
oh my gosh, of all the teams.
Yeah, it's QB purgatory for
Yeah, and
draft.
I got a kick out of the fact that Detroit's first draft pick, this defensive tackle Williams, is from Ohio State. It's like,
Yeah,
oh my gosh, he must be really good for a Michigan team to draft him, right? He must be the greatest defensive tackle in the history of college football.
yeah, yeah. Boy, I know there's definitely some bad blood there. They'll have to definitely put him through the ringer there.
Yeah, Ohio State had. I'm looking at it now. One, two, three, four first round picks.
Yeah,
So it's awesome that those guys helped the team win a national championship this past
yeah.
year. So it's funny because ASU got one guy drafted and they were like a stone's throw away from beating Texas
Yeah.
and making an even further run. And they had one guy that got drafted.
Hmm.
That's a great coaching job by Kenny Dillingham. That team was not stacked. They had Scadaboo, who's an amazing player, and he's going to shine in New York. I can guarantee it because he's a guy you don't question his toughness or anything else, right? So I see an Arizona guy got drafted. My son's comment on that was on the McMillan guy, the wide receiver from Arizona who went to the Panthers.
Hmm.
Was I don't know if I'm drafting a guy in the first round from a bad team, right? Like all these other guys, Penn State, LSU, Michigan, Texas, Georgia, a lot of guys coming off of good teams, right? And then you got a few, you know, here's a guy from Arizona. There's a guy from North Dakota State. That's a winning program. They win like D2 championships all the time, right? Whatever they play.
Yeah.
But most of these draft picks are on winning, successful teams.
Right.
Because and it's going to be more like that with the transfer portal, right? If you show up and you're a great player in your first year and you're on a crappy team, you're gone,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about, because when you're watching the tape on some of these players, you're seeing some of their highlights on one team, and then there's some more highlights from
Yeah.
team. And what is it, the Cardinals that drafted the pass rusher? And he started out, gosh, what was he with Miami or he was with some
Yeah.
school, and then the next highlight, he's over with another one. I don't know how I feel about somebody who's switching and flipping and going to different programs. If
Yeah,
that's
I don't know what that tells. I mean, 10 years from now, we'll have an idea of what that means, right?
yeah,
Players who played for three different teams and
yeah,
this quarterback from what, Louisville, who's like 26 years old and was in the same high school as in like the same age as Brock Purdy at the
yeah,
same high school at the same time where they played each other or whatever. They're both from Chandler. They're
yeah.
like the same age. And Brock Purdy's in his fourth season in the NFL. And this guy's just getting drafted. It's bizarre,
It is.
right?
Yeah, yeah, it is. And I think the Lions had a good draft overall. It's tough when you're picking at the bottom because by the
Yeah.
to you, it's like
Been
all
picked over.
yeah, it gets picked over, and I guess that's a good problem to have. I noticed
Yeah,
that
it is.
three players from Georgia, so they stuck with
Yeah.
let's go with the pro
That's
style.
hard to go wrong taking a player from Georgia or Alabama
Yeah,
or Texas or LSU. I mean, those teams are stacked with five-star recruits and stuff. So here's the thing, right? This is a self-fulfilling prophecy thing, though. Uh, Players or GMs think it's a safe pick because a lot of work has already been done on this player to get to that school,
right.
right? And to play at that level. So for them, they're not putting their neck out on the line because if he doesn't turn out, they'll be like, well, who would have thought a player who played for 3 years at Georgia or played for 3 years at Alabama? I mean, of course we thought for sure he would pan out. But if you pick like this guy from North Dakota State or something like that, and he doesn't pan out, then you're like, what were you doing drafting a D2 guy?
Right.
Like,
Yeah. There's probably a scout who's having to clean out his desk after.
yeah, it's like it's not really working out, right?
Yeah,
With the
yeah. Kime was big on that. He'd always get some North Dakota southeastern,
yeah, directional school guy. And there's guys like that who come into the league and can do stuff. It's just
yeah,
usually the size. They're just they're not big enough, right?
right. Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw, but this guy from Florida, this defensive tackle who weighs 458 pounds or whatever, and he's on a team with a guy who weighs 158 pounds now. So they have both the smallest guy in the entire NFL and the biggest guy who's ever played in the NFL, and their weight difference is like 300 pounds,
Yeah, that's
which
correct.
also should scare the crap out of you because if that guy gets if a 450-pound player lands on
Right. Right. That's like a refrigerator falling on you from 10 feet.
you, yeah, I mean, oh my goodness, it'll be interesting to see if he can play at all,
Yeah.
right? Like if the speed thing, but I mean, ultimately, if you're a defensive tackle, you just stand there and clog up the works, right?
Yeah, they don't have to, be rocket scientists or, you know, do anything
You're
other.
a run stopper and you come out on third down. That's my guess, right? He plays first and second downs and then fourth and shorts, right?
Yeah. It's just if you can't stop the run, you're screwed. And if
Yeah,
you can't get to the quarterback and he's got time to throw, you're screwed in the league now, because it's just,
yeah,
and so you can see that they are really investing in the trenches now on both sides of the ball.
yeah.
And it's getting away from how it used to be with the secondary being so valuable. Now it's get to the quarterback, knock him down before he has a chance to go through his progressions, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these guys end up doing. I've never seen a draft like the Cardinals where they go all
All
defense, so they're
defense.
going to look completely different.
Yeah,
Uh,
completely different. Their whole defense is flipped over,
yeah, and they're going to
which is
have
probably a good thing, but it's like, yeah, it'll be interesting. And I'm going to have to become a Houston Texans fan now because they drafted two wide receivers from Iowa State. So I'm going to have them on my back burner of teams to watch because I love both of those guys. Higgins and Noel were both great wide receivers for Iowa State. And when you think about it, you were playing on a team where both of your wide receivers got drafted second and third round off the
Yeah.
same team. That's how good that receiving core was. They're both drafted. They also had a defensive back and a lineman drafted. So a good draft for Iowa State. The more GMs pay attention to them because of the Montgomerys and the Brees Halls and the Brock
Yeah.
Purdy's who have come out of there recently. Tight end who plays for the Ravens as well. They start to notice that, hey, this is a school that's producing NFL quality specialty players, right? On a pretty regular basis now.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool. I think, like, I saw with Shador Sanders, some NFL assistant coach said it's the worst interview I've ever sat in,
Yeah. I saw that.
and said he's arrogant, he's entitled, and he's just not that good. That was he's just not that good. And it's like, why is that a surprise to people? He was 13 and 12 in
Yeah.
college, right?
Do you think partly we're getting into generation differences? Do you think that the younger generations, um, one of the big differences, they're just being, yeah, having more of that. I don't want to call it narcissistic, but this,
But it is. That's what it is. And like we mentioned it before, but Johnny Manziel, the last time I heard a quarterback talk brash and like I'm going to wreck this league and all that was Johnny Manziel.
yeah,
The last time I heard a guy talk himself up like that before Shador was Manziel. Well, we all know how that turned,
yeah,
right? The guy was on suicide watch like 2 years after being drafted. That's how that turned out, right? So it's like, we'll see.
yeah. It seems like a lot of these guys just think that they are, they're the center of the universe, and it's just different from when, we were kids growing up, and if you watch the football players there was humility, and there are players like that now too being drafted, but it just seems like, I don't know, I partly question, is this a generation thing where these younger kids haven't really, they're kind of starting at second base instead of hitting a
Yeah.
double.
Yeah. They're being told how good they are and their
Yeah,
agents and their NIL money and all this. And they get like, 18 to 22-year-old kids, they're not ready for that, right? There's a lot to process and everything else. And it's up to their parents to keep them humble. And clearly that didn't happen with Dion and Shador, right? It's like, it's the opposite of that. He just said, hey, my dad was successful, so I'll just be like him and
yeah.
talk
Well,
it up and stuff. It's like, wait, you got to first do it on the field and
yeah,
prove it. So it's like, okay, you got a chance. You got drafted. Now go to that team and show us why we're wrong, right? Show everyone why you didn't deserve to be taken in the fifth round. You should have been a first rounder. Go prove that we're wrong. We'll be happy to say, good job. You proved us wrong,
yeah,
right? Go
absolutely.
do it.
Absolutely. But honestly, I wasn't a big fan of Deion Sanders doing a dance every time he knocked the ball past.
No, my dad hated him.
Yeah,
He thought he was so, it's all about me and the flash and all
uh,
of that. And
arrogant.
that is a generational thing. Like Gen X people and the generation before us and whatnot, we don't like that,
No, no.
right?
Well, you're
It's
in a team sport. It's a team
it's a
sport.
team sport. Yeah. And it's like, just shut up and play,
Yeah,
right? Like, can you just shut up and play?
yeah. Who's the basketball? Is it Morant?
Yeah, yeah, Morant. Yeah.
Down 20 points with a few minutes to go. He hits a three and he's celebrating. And
Flashing it's like
it,
scoreboard, dude.
you've lost the game. Don't you care
Yeah.
that at all, or is it all about you and you're scoring so you're
I used
happy?
to I would tell my son in soccer too, it's like if you guys are ahead and some guy starts mouthing off or whatever, all you have to do is just say scoreboard,
Yeah,
right? If you're up 4-1 and this guy's like talking smack and everything else, you're like, dude, scoreboard. We used to do that in baseball. When I played baseball and some guy would, hit a triple and be standing on third base next to me and be like, yeah, yeah. And I'd be like, dude, scoreboard, you're down 7-1. Right? It's like, I don't think a triple's saving you. I
Yeah.
just want to throw one baseball thing in because it's like it's sad, but I don't even follow it that much anymore. But a guy from the Diamondbacks,
Suarez.
wow. Yeah, Juarez,
Yeah,
hit 4 home runs yesterday in a single game.
I saw
Now
that.
they lost in 10, so it's like same thing. Nobody could get on ahead of this guy. The rest of the team had 3 hits in 10 innings.
Uh,
But
yeah,
this guy had 4 home runs. I'd be like looking at my teammates like, what do I got to do?
right. Does anybody else want to hit the ball?
Would someone take a walk maybe ahead of me? Something like the top three guys in the lineup had zero nothing.
Yeah,
And so one time was there a guy on base, right? But still, 4 home runs in a game. It's only the 19th time in the history of Major League Baseball that that's been done.
yeah.
So that's pretty impressive. 4 dingers in a single game. Man, when you're locked in, that's the thing about baseball. And I've seen it firsthand in high school baseball. When a guy is locked in, you can't get him out. I mean, they
No,
are just seeing watermelons coming at them, right?
and in our day, in our generation, he probably would have got plunked before he.
Oh, yeah. After that second one, he's taking one right here, baby. Right? Nolan Ryan,
Yeah,
Randy Johnson, that pitch is coming in
yeah,
and giving him a shave,
yeah.
right?
That,
So
that's gonna leave a mark.
there's no way you're not getting hit, especially if you've gotten 3 homers and it's a close game. I'm still plunking you.
You're
There's
good.
no way you're not getting another one.
There was none of this. You can just go to first base, wave the batter on,
Yeah, it's like, nope.
fastball off the thigh.
Yeah, it's like even in high school, we would throw at guys if they got like home runs and stuff, right? Like the coach he had a sign for like chin music, right? And he's like, don't hit him. Like he didn't want him to hit him, but he said, take him off the plate,
Yeah,
right? Like up and in, right about here. It looks like it's gonna shatter your skull. He'll get out of the way,
yeah,
right? And if a guy goes, if we got a steal on or something, and he goes and does the fake bunt thing, plunk him,
yeah,
right? It's like just hit him, man. It's like, oh man, that was a different era. Like now,
no,
they'd probably ban you from little league if you
yeah.
intentionally hit a guy.
Well, I
Uh,
hear it on the radio, Wolfley saying that, they would say 52, 52, and they'd pass along 52. And that meant whoever was around 52, when you get an opportunity, hit him.
yeah,
Take,
just hit him, just light him up. And uh, that was something that Ron Wolfley loved to do, right? On special teams, especially if he got a number, that guy was going to get up wheezing. That's what he said. You want that guy, grasping for breath. It's like I got him. Oh,
yep,
there's one other thing about Shadur. He got cranked phone called
yeah,
during the draft, and then I've just read like a half an hour before the show. An Atlanta Falcons assistant coach's son is the one who did it. Saw the number on his dad's iPad.
unbelievable.
But so, the Falcons release an official statement and they're going to investigate. It's a freaking crank phone call. He didn't break any laws. He didn't really do anything wrong. How soft have we become? We're going to investigate this crank phone call.
Yeah,
What, how soft is everybody?
yeah, I know.
And to Shadur's credit, he did laugh it off once he found off. He did laugh it off apparently later
Yeah,
that it was a crank phone call and didn't make more out of it. But it's like, how soft is this generation? Like, you can't crank phone call somebody. So
did
I
they?
left a comment on Twitter saying, it's just a crank phone call. Everybody chill out, especially the Falcons. Chill out. Like,
Oh,
you don't have anything to do with this. The son of one of your coaches, that has nothing to do with the Falcons,
right.
right? How does that have anything to do with the Falcons, first of all? And then
Yeah,
say, well, we don't appreciate that, or whatever, but it's a crank phone call. Like, let's keep it in perspective. And then I just said, like, hey, for all of you out there, is your refrigerator running?
Yeah.
It's like
Did, did they mention what he did or what he said?
he said he like pretended that he was like an agent or a somebody from a team and saying you're gonna have to wait. Just hang on, you're gonna get drafted. You just have to wait a little bit longer, something to that.
Oh,
But I mean, you you're when you set up your own tent outside with the word legendary plastered all over it,
yeah.
I, you deserve a crank phone call,
Oh,
right? In our day and age, that you're getting just like you're getting plunked if you got 3 home runs, and you're
yeah.
getting lit up on the football field if you cheap shotted somebody. If you come off like that with other people from our generation, yeah, we're crank phone calling for sure, right? And the egg or two is probably going to hit your house, right? Like almost a guarantee.
A few toilet paper
And
rolls.
toilet paper rolls, right? Although we can't afford those now, like eggs and toilet paper. It's like we were so rich and didn't realize it. We were throwing eggs at people's houses and rolls of toilet paper over their trees for fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow.
I
How
got a
times
kick
have,
out of I got a speaking of Easter and the eggs, I got a kick out of it. Somebody thought they were gonna do something with Trump. You guys spent $15,000 on eggs for your Easter roll at the White House lawn. And was point are they trying to make, right? Right. You spent $1 billion on dance lessons for people in Bangladesh. So I don't, it's not even. But
yeah.
then the other side of it is that the administration wrote back and said, actually, we didn't spend anything. Those are all donated from a
Oh,
local charity. So we spent nothing. So
yeah.
there you go. Maybe check your facts next time. One other political sort of thing is a couple of judges got arrested for aiding and abetting uh, criminals.
Mm.
Well, one snuck a criminal out of her courtroom through her chambers out the side door and got arrested. It's like it's about time,
What are they?
right?
Yeah. What are they thinking?
You're breaking a law, and it's not even a fuzzy law. And then somebody defending it, it's like, it's like people harboring, saving Jews during World War II, right? Really? That's the comp that you're going up against,
Yeah.
right? You're saying that's the same thing. We're not putting them in a gas chamber. We're sending them back to where they came
Yeah. I don't get it. I don't understand. That when I was driving yesterday, there was a rally, protesters,
from. Oh
uh,
yeah, I heard about that.
on the corner, and they had signs, and some of them were saying, without due process, we're next, you're next, and all this. And
No, because I'm not an illegal alien and I haven't broken the law.
yeah,
Like, what part of that are you missing? Like, I don't get it.
I don't either. I don't either. So I know I see that the administration now is kind of keeping things close to their vest. They're
Yeah,
not.
just don't talk about it. Just send people back and don't talk about it.
That's it's just
And
the
in case anybody forgot, every other Democrat president sent people back too.
yeah.
And there's tape of Obama talking about it, and he sent back like 8 or 10 million. Nobody was complaining then.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I think that if you're president of the United States and you have to make decisions to try and better the country, whatever they are, you're going to have groups of nut jobs
Yeah,
are going to
always,
on over inaccurate information, and it's
always.
it's amazing. You're never going to have 100% of the people happy all the time, and I just don't understand what are you melting down about. Do you really feel like they're going to get their jobs cut? And
Yeah. I can't understand anybody supporting or defending a criminal gang member who would rape and kill you in a heartbeat,
yeah,
and then you're defending them. It's like this woman who, I don't know if you ever heard that story. A woman was going to write her graduate thesis about how African Americans in the inner city were unfairly treated in the criminal justice system. And when she was down there interviewing, she was stabbed to death.
Really?
Literally,
Wow.
right? So, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Interesting. All
Ouch.
right, I got some questions for you, Brady.
Okay.
And let me throw up my signs. Uh, by the way, when we were kids, this meant okay.
That's right. Yep.
It didn't mean white supremacy. It didn't mean it. Some people make it mean this. It's got like 10 meanings in different countries as well. It's like whenever, I don't know when that, who makes this stuff up? Like, right? It's like,
Well, that was Little Rascals. That was all the way back to the Little Rascals.
yeah,
Hey, I mean, I don't know how you can change it.
no, we didn't agree to that change, by the way. Uh, all right. So, what chores, speaking of the old days and it was
Oh,
tougher, what chores did you have when you were a kid?
oh man, I remember 50 cents a week for the grand sum of 50 cents a week.
Nice.
I had to scoop the dog dry,
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah.
which in Michigan it's gross because it's
Yeah.
raining and
Yeah. They
it's
don't
not
dry out.
Arizona, no. Yeah, cut the grass, had my Walkman with my Duran Duran
Your
tape.
giant headphones with the antenna sticking out of them,
Yeah,
Starsky and Hutch style.
that's right. Yeah,
Wearing those short shorts and a half shirt.
right. Dark, dark
Tube
socks.
socks, tube socks.
Yeah, that was my main chores, cutting the grass, scooping the dog. I didn't do dishes or, yeah.
Yeah, that was mine too. It was mow the lawn. And if it wasn't done by like 9 o'clock on a Saturday, my dad would start harassing me about it, right? I'm like, I'm gonna do it today, right? We'll do it now. What difference does it make? And then so my son's like, I'll do my clothes later. And I'm like, as long as it gets done, okay. But don't come at me at 9:30 and say, "Oh, I got a test tomorrow. Now I got to sleep. I don't have time to do it."
Oh
Right.
yeah,
So,
I've heard that
uh,
a time or two.
yeah, and I think I made 50 cents maybe or something too.
Yeah,
25 cents. I don't know. It wasn't much. Enough to go get some candy at the
yeah,
five and dime, maybe.
right. Well, candy bars were like 25 cents.
Oh, when I was a kid, they were like 10. I mean, seriously, like, and they were like this big, right? It's like, that's 10 cents. It was like a pound of chocolate. And,
Oh, it was wonderful.
oh
Yeah.
my gosh. All right. Speaking of the draft, oh, and I spent all of the time coming up with this, and then when we were talking about it, I didn't do it. So, uh, speaking of the draft, if there was any player in history was in this draft, let's say any player from any all time in history, who would you draft with the number one pick?
Oh
You got
man.
the number one pick. You can pick any player from history. Who are you taking?
Yeah, I would think you'd have to go quarterback because of how important the role is. And you got to look at between Joe Montana and Tom Brady. Um, yeah, I mean, defense, yeah, how good? I mean, having Lawrence Taylor would be nice, but just the way that the league has changed and how fast and good the offensive linemen are, you don't know if somebody like that would really make the impact that he'd had. Um, yeah, that's a good question. I'd probably go with yeah, gee, if you could do Montana or yeah, or Tom Brady, I'd have to go with one of those guys, I think.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I mean, I was thinking exactly the same. It's like, man, I don't know that I could pass up Montana and or Brady, either one of them. It'd be 1-2 probably for me. And then there'll be people who say, what about you know, uh Peyton or Walter Payton or Peyton Manning or it's like yeah, but Montana with the Super Bowl wins and he never lost one and stuff. That's a pretty huge thing.
Yeah.
And there's been lots of great players, right? Wide receivers, people will say, well, what if he didn't have uh, Jerry Rice? You had one of the best quarterbacks of all time, but that's a chicken and egg argument, right?
Yeah.
Was he good? Was Jerry Rice good because he had one of the best quarterbacks of all time throwing to him with a really sweet ball, right? It's the same thing. I say that's with the New Orleans guys too. It's like, well, you had Drew Brees throwing you a perfect ball every time. How hard was your job, right? Like, no
Right.
wonder those guys had 130 catches a year. It's like the ball's right in your hand softly on every throw.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a tough one, right? Because there's a lot of great players, and I agree though. It's like it's the same with what I would do in the draft. In the first round, I want an impact player, and I just don't think like a defensive tackle or an offensive guard or even a left tackle or something like they're not an impact player,
Yeah.
right? Okay, after 10 years and they've been a perennial all pro as a left tackle or whatever, that probably was a good thing. But it's like, nah, I want the receiver, the running back, the quarterback, maybe a corner or something. But I want an impact player, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The league. It definitely changes. It does change. I was just thinking about Jerry Rice nowadays. If he was playing, even with a good quarterback, just the difference in the speed of the game and the speed of the corner
Yeah.
safeties and the way they slide coverage.
It's
Who
easier. There's all that, like the athletic part of it has gotten way better. But then the rules are in the favor of the wide receivers so
right?
much now than they were back then. I mean, you could light a guy up back
Yeah.
then. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, guys didn't go over the middle very often. There was no slot receiver because you'd get killed,
Right.
right? Like that slot receiver only really came around when they decided to put the rules in place to protect guys more,
Yeah.
right? Because prior to that, the guys who went over the middle got lit up or paralyzed.
Yeah.
Daryl Stingley, right? It's like going across the middle. So, what
Yeah.
was your typical punishment when you were a kid? That's my last question.
Oh man. For me, it was being sent to my room. I was such a good kid. It was. I did learn to listen and obey at a young age. That's for sure. But yeah, I
What's that? Your dad's joining? Oh, welcome, Brady's dad,
get the
into
belts.
the conversation. Yeah, he just entered the chat, as they say.
Yeah. The Indiana Jones leather belt
Yeah.
once in a while. But mostly it was, yeah. I remember one time a memory of, we had the neighborhood kids over. Our yard was big enough where we'd play. We had a basketball court in our backyard, and we had where we could actually play wiffle ball and have teams. And I remember one time I got sent to my room. I did something stupid and I deserved it. And I got sent to my room, and it was the most beautiful day, Michigan.
Torture.
And I'm looking out the window and I'm watching all my friends out there. And I'm like, I remember going downstairs and just saying, "Hey, go ahead and spank me.
Yeah.
Spank me. I'd rather get spanked than miss out on being out there. So go ahead and spank me." And they said, "No, go back to your room." But yeah,
I
yeah, that
think I had that exact same conversation one time too. Like, it was just like, just go ahead and spank me and get it over with, right? Like, I want to go outside and play.
right.
I'm willing to take it.
Wow.
Uh, uh, the worst thing for me was honestly, like, the spanking never bothered me that much. And my mom used to take those plastic tracks from Hot Wheels cars and right
Okay.
across the knuckle, like if I
Oh,
was
ooh,
acting up. Now, that's smarted, right?
yeah.
But the worst punishment for me was to have to apologize. I hated doing that, right? Like you
Oh
need
yeah.
to apologize to your mom or your sister, or you have to come down here and look them in the eye and apologize. It's like, oh, God, can you just spank me? I'd rather that's less humiliating than
Yeah, I know. That's
like, can I choose my punishment? Right? Like, I'll take spanking for 200. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, it's funny. And it's funny how you grow out of it. I remember like the last time you get spanked, you're thinking to yourself, I could fight back. It's like you get this thing where you're big enough, and I think my own son is like that. Like he realizes like I'm almost the same size as my dad. Like, why am I taking this? No, we didn't spank him when he was that big. But you start to think that, right? Like,
Back off, old man.
keep it up, old man. See
Yeah,
what happens to you.
I got your racetrack right here.
Yeah, that's right. I got stuff of my own.
Well, now it's the phone. That seems like
Just
life.
take the phone away. Oh my gosh,
That's, how can they live without
it spiral out of control.
the heart doesn't beat without that phone.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that be the ultimate. Turning off the internet or taking the phone away, that's probably the biggest punch.
Yeah. Yeah. To us, if they said, hey, you can't use the home phone. Okay. No, that's no problem. Don't take my bike away.
Yeah, yeah. Don't take my bike away. It's like, man, take my phone away. Take the phone away. I don't care. I don't want to talk on that thing anyway. So it's like,
Right over to
but
my friend's house anyway. So
no, my bike means freedom,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Hey, Brady, I got this is a post of the week, which I think is kind of funny. So I don't know if you can read it, but this is an ad for a hard disk back in the day,
Let's see.
and it was $3,000, more than $3,000 for 10 megabytes for a hard drive.
Wow.
And so that's the equivalent of, it says there about what, 12,000, something like that in today's money. So this thing, if you bought a 10 megabytes back in it's supposed to be the early 90s, it would cost you $12,000.
Wow.
And what's amazing is now you can buy micro SD cards that are a terabyte for like 30 bucks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that much memory back when this thing was being sold would have cost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And now it's this little teeny thing, and it costs like a terabyte is 30 bucks. It's like it's nothing. And you can get a 128 gigabyte SD card for like 10 bucks,
Yeah.
right? This is 10 megabytes.
Wow.
Like the every picture you take with your phone is probably 10 megabytes. One picture.
Yeah. What were people using it for? I mean,
I mean, how many? But see, back then it was like, oh, Word Perfect was the DOS word processing system, right? And you could have 100-page thesis paper, and it would be like 5K.
yeah.
So you could have thousands of those on your super expensive hard drive,
Yeah.
right? My first computer that I ever got, I think, was in 1991, and it had a 40 megabyte hard drive.
Hmm.
That was it, 40 megabytes. And the whole system costs like 15 or 1600 bucks. A dot matrix printer, 14-inch monitor.
Floppy disk.
Uh,
Is it a flop?
yeah, it had both floppies. It had the 3 1/4 and the five and what, three and a whatever it was, 3.5, 5.5
Yeah.
disk drives. It did have a modem, so there was America Online, and there was Prodigy, and CompuServe were like things that you could get subscriptions to, but
Yeah.
they had almost nothing back then. The internet didn't really exist yet. Like the World Wide Web did not exist yet. It was just coming about. But yeah, I mean, 40 megabytes. Like my watch has like 10 gigs of memory.
Yeah.
This
Amazing.
teeny little thing on my wrist has like 1,000 times more power than my entire computer had back
It,
in 1991.
And yet, are cars actually better now, made better now than they were back when all
They
this?
got more stuff, but do they, are they better? I don't know. That's a, you know,
Yeah, I
they
listened to.
sure cost a lot.
Yeah, I don't know if you listened to Bill Murray and Rogan when they were talking about cars, but Bill Murray was saying that yeah, that all the cars look the same now. All they make
Yeah.
kind of look the same. And I mean, my experience, if you're in a fender bender, yeah, they're probably safer because they're made of this plastic that crumples,
Yeah.
and so you don't get the power, thrown on you. But it's like it's totaled. It
It's
the
totaled. There's a joke, like I have an Audi, and the joke in all the Audi forums is like, a guy takes a picture of like little teeny dent and a scratch on like his rear quarter panel. What do you guys think this is going to cost me? And everybody, same joke, total.
yeah
It's like they can't just replace that one panel for like $100. No, no, no. They have to realign the frame and everything. It'll be like 45 grand to fix it
yeah
from this little 5 mile an hour fender bender,
yeah
in the Applebee's parking lot. And so they just total it because it's so expensive to fix it, right?
yeah yeah. That's
There
a
was that thing, remember they had 5 mile an hour bumpers where you could hit bumpers and it wouldn't do any damage whatsoever.
right, right.
Whatever happened to that?
But yeah, what happened to those? Because now, I mean, just the cost, the labor, the cost for a small, for them to,
$400 an hour. The labor charge is like $400 an hour.
yeah, yeah, it's ridiculous. You wonder why you see these cars that look like they're duct taped,
Yeah, it's like who can afford to fix it, right? It's
like,
like just buy a brand new one. Everything's disposable,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. It's
It's like, hey, my $1,500 phone is 2 years old. I guess I might as well just throw it away,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Which
That's
is crazy. Hey, I got a show and tell this week.
okay.
And I know everybody's been waiting for it, right? But this is a physical copy of my book. Here it is in all its glory.
Is
Um, it is a real entity. They're selling like hotcakes on Amazon,
okay.
right? What's just funny here is so this image, I use AI by the way to create these images. It's amazing.
Hmm.
Uh, I talk about in the book how I wanted number 10 because Fran Tarkenton was number 10.
Hmm.
So there's a kid with a 10 on his shirt.
Yeah.
That's Jaws,
Yeah.
right? And the bicentennial.
Okay.
So like Fran Tarkenton was in the Super Bowl 1977, 1975, 1976. There you go. It's the holy grail
There
of
you go.
stuff. That's the back cover. It's about 300 pages of pure joy,
Yeah.
right? You'll never read a book that you enjoy more than this book, Brady. I'm just telling
All
you.
right.
It's chock full of anecdotes, stories of from the 70s and 80s. It's got references to all of the stuff that Gen Xers will find funny. There's some sad stuff in here. There's a discussion about some friends of mine who had twin daughters. That takes up a section here.
Hey,
Um,
so good for all generations to read, young and
oh my gosh, you'll learn so much about what it was like to grow up a Gen X person reading this book. And here's the great part. Like some people are really lazy and like me, and they don't want to read, right? Like, I don't sit around and read a book. My wife will read a 700-page book in like 2 days, right? That'll take me like a year. So you can get a hardcover version of it, Hindsight, the Gen X Life. You can get a hardcover version. This is the paperback. And if you can see the edge there, it's a VHS tape. Um, so you can get that. You can get the Kindle version so you can read it on your phone anywhere you are. For those of us with poor eyesight in the Gen X group, you can make the font bigger. So that's nice, right? And I will say that the font in the book is actually 12 point. So it's not like some of those things where, it's like 8 point and it's
Yeah.
like -2 line
Yeah.
spacing.
Hell.
So, and then you can also get the book on Audible and you can have a very human sounding voice actually read the book to you. And that's your cheapest thing. And I think it's about 5.5 hours of listening time to listen to the whole book. But you can get that on Audible. But all of it's available on Amazon. Be sure to pick up a copy and then leave an Amazon review. And of course, you're going to give me 5 stars. It'll be the greatest book you've ever read. So that's what you got to do, right? Um, but yes, and I posted some funny reviews on our Instagram page too. Um, I thought it would be funny to write some fake book reviews. My favorite is this is from a book review from a millennial female. I thought this whole thing was insulting, offensive, juvenile, racist, misogynistic, and homophobic. I would definitely not recommend ever reading it. It should be banned or burned. Now, that coming from a millennial, that means you gotta buy it, right? you
Yeah.
that's a book that's like a stamp of approval. If some millennial person says that about it, you want to read it, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but anyway, it was a lot of fun doing it, and had some good sales. Just launched it about 2 weeks ago, and excited to get it out there. And it's not the story of my life, right? That would be a lot of it would be boring with moments of like terror, right? But it's essentially it's 4 timelines and they alternate throughout the book. So it's kind of a cliffhanger at the end of each chapter, right? But stuff from the 70s, stuff from the 80s, some stuff about being a parent, getting married, things like that. I think you'll relate to it and have a good time reading it. And so I encourage everybody go get a copy, get the audio version, just listen to it in your car. Um, I think that would be funny because I don't know what it would be like to listen to it being spoken, right? Because in my head, I'm thinking of like how I would say things, right? Not everybody would get that
Yeah.
necessarily. Uh, hey, but I gotta share something with you, Brady. So I got a game for my birthday last month, and it's called Mind the Gap.
Hmm.
And so we got to play it with you guys, like with the kids and everything. It's pretty fun. So it's interesting. So they have cards from 4 different generations. And I have in my hand, I have the GenX cards. It's a deck of cards. And look, they think like I do. It's like an
Oh, yeah.
old tape thing. So here's what I'm going to do, Brady. I'm going to read you a question from the GenX questions
Okay.
and we'll alternate and we'll see if we can get a couple of these here.
Okay.
Uh, and now it's one of these things where since I have my glasses that are set to be like a hand distance, like I can't even read this stupid card,
Oh,
right? This is what happens in your old age. Okay, here we go. So first question. This is like movies and entertainment. All right. Name two of the three actresses who starred in the movie 9 to 5.
oh, 9 to 5. Was that Dolly Parton?
Yep, that's one.
And
Do you remember who the other female stars were?
yeah, it was oh shoot, Dolly Parton and it was one of the older actresses. Gosh, what's her name?
Yeah, you'll know it when I say it.
Yeah.
Think Vietnam protester.
Oh yeah, Jane Fonda. There,
Yeah, Jane Fonda.
right there.
Yeah, and the other one was a comedian, Lily Tomlin,
Lily Tomlin. Yeah, that's the one I was trying to think of. Yeah, I remember she was in it.
and Dabney Coleman was the bad boss, right? And they got over on him. It's funny. Dabney Coleman had this run right? In the 80s and early 90s. He was in a bunch of movies. Uh he's in War Games, right?
Yeah.
He's the guy who works at the Whopper place,
Yeah.
NORAD. All right, here's my question. Which of these is the most popular Gen X name for a female? This will be funny. And I'm honest, I haven't looked at the answers, right? Which of these is the most popular Gen X name for a female? All right, so here's the list, and you can think to yourself as well.
Okay.
Karen, Jennifer, Emma, or Blakely? So I'm going to guess if my contact list is any has any bearing on this, I have about 15% of everyone in my contact list is named Jennifer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, or some variation of Jen or Jenny or Jennifer. So I'm going to say Jennifer.
Yeah.
And that is correct. That
Oh,
is the correct answer there, Jennifer. So
yeah.
you might know someone named Jennifer,
Yeah.
right?
I think
All right. This one is for you. According to the Billy Joel song, when did the fire start?
uh oh geez. We
It's
didn't
kind of
start
a trick question, but when did the fire start?
when. Um
And
uh,
just for everyone's reference, we didn't start the fire.
yeah. I don't know.
The answer is it was always burning since the world's been turning.
Oh, that's right. The lyrics. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all
Yeah.
right, here's the next one. And this is I think this is the news category. Oh my gosh, this is so easy. So when I was playing this game with friends over the last weekend, I was playing with my friend Ben, he's actually a baby boomer, but the questions I said you can get this question in 2 words. Like you can answer after I read the first 2 words. And
Hmm.
he did
Wow.
because it was so easy. So I'm gonna ask this one of you, and
Okay.
you'll get it in 3 words. Okay.
Okay, let's hope.
Gen X question. What hockey player?
Wayne Gretzky.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nicknamed the Great One, won 4 Stanley Cup championships in the 1980s and retired with 61 NHL.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a yeah. Yeah.
Hockey player from Gen X. It's like there's nobody else. And now, this other guy passed him in the total goals
Yeah.
career. But if you took away all of Gretzky's goal, he'd still be the NHL's all-time leading point getters.
Okay. So he
Take
was
away all of his goals, he still would be the point total uh, record holder.
that's yeah.
That's how good he was, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Just
He could have probably scored twice as many as he did, but he would just as soon pass it to an open guy,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, all right, last one on here. This is a better question for you because this is a show you probably watched. I didn't watch it because I was too old, I think, when it came out, but you might have watched it. Jesse Spano in Saved by the Bell proclaimed that she was so excited, but actually she was what? I don't know what any of that means.
Yeah, she was one of the main girls in the show, but gosh, I didn't really follow it that long to really know intricate episode. Uh, she was so excited. But she was really,
This must be a line from the show. I don't know. See,
yeah,
this to me is barely a Gen X question.
yeah.
The
What's
answer is so scared.
yeah? See,
That's weird. I don't know.
that's yeah. That must be out of an episode, but yeah, you'd have
All
to
right,
write.
let's do one more card.
Okay.
Uh, name at least 3 of the 5 Cosby kids.
Oh, okay. Is that yours or mine?
No, I'll give that one to you.
Okay. Well, you've got okay, let's go through them here. You got Theo,
Yep.
and then you've got uh I think Denise was
Yep.
his,
Yep.
and then the older was Sandra or Samantha.
Sandra. Yep. Sandra. Yep.
Yeah.
And what's
And
the other one? There was one. There's two more girls.
yeah, Rudy was the little one.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then let's see, Rudy, Theo, Denise, Sandra, and ah,
Yeah, I don't know if I could have come up with it either.
yeah.
It's Vanessa, which when I hear it now I get it. But um,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
she was the second youngest girl, I think, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. What character duo said if a certain female were president, she would be Abraham Lincoln?
That sounds like Garth.
Yeah, that's Wayne and Garth from Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that, man? That's some of that stuff's like 35 years old now, right?
Yeah.
Most people younger than us wouldn't even know that.
Although
He would be Abraham Lincoln.
I don't know if you've been watching any of the hockey, but they did have a really funny commercial with Mike Myers where I think it's the Prime Minister of Canada is there watching the hockey game, and Wayne comes and goes, "Hey, are we doing okay? Is Canada going to be okay?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, we'll be fine." And he said, "What? We're gonna be Canada. We're not gonna join the United States." And and it was funny because he goes, What are you doing now?" He goes, "Oh, I live in the United States." Oh, you live in the U.S. Yeah, but I'm still Canadian. Oh, okay. And then he peppers them with these questions that only a Canadian would really know.
All right. Like, what do you put on poutine? Stuff like that. It's like,
Yeah, it was really funny. He said, "Okay, what were Mr. Dress Up's two puppets named then?"
yeah.
And he rattles them off. And he goes, "All right, well, what are the two seasons that Canada has?" He goes, "Well,
Yeah. What's the capital of the Northwest Territory?
well, I loved it because you go, what are the two seasons in Canada?" And he goes, "Well, there's winter and construction."
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was in Minnesota too. It was like there's winter and then there's construction.
Yeah,
That's it.
and
The
they pan,
ground's frozen for 6 months out of the year, so you can't build anything
yeah.
all that time.
Oh, it's a mess. And they pan out, and he's wearing a hockey jersey that's number 51, and it says the name. It says Never for Never
Yeah.
51. And I thought, oh, that's pretty clever. Uh, Pretty clever. But yeah,
Yeah, and just not to stick it to the Canadians, but when was the last time your hockey team, a hockey team from Canada, won the Stanley Cup?
yeah,
Like 20 something years ago,
yeah,
right? It's been
no,
forever.
yeah,
And the teams that are winning it are like Florida and Las Vegas,
right.
Dallas. It's like all these great hockey towns,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. How?
Nothing says hockey more than Florida,
Yeah,
right? It's like
Vegas. Yeah, that's
jeepers. All right. Name the oil tanker that spilled more than 11 million gallons of crude oil in Prince William Sound, Alaska in 1989.
well, that's Enron uh, with Captain Juan Valdez.
Yeah, it's Valdez. It's the Valdez. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Last one. If someone told you to pick rocks, what did they want you to do?
Ram. Yeah.
Yeah, scram. That's a good one. That's how Scooby Doo would say it, right? Like scram or amscray,
Yeah.
right? Pig Latin. Do people do that anymore? Use Pig Latin?
Yeah. That was, oh,
Uh-oh. I've got to pause something here for a second. I'll be right back. And we're back. Every once in a while, my camera will shut off. And yeah, I think you can still hear me. Um, but you can't see all my props, right? If my camera goes off, you can't see the props that we're using here. So, well, we did okay on that. My boomer friend actually won when we played them last weekend. So in the game, there's the Gen X questions, and then there's Boomer questions, Millennial, and Gen Z. So our kids are Gen Zs, and I can't get any of those, right? It's nothing. What rap group?
Yeah,
I don't know. Tone Loc. I don't know any rappers, right?
yeah.
What this YouTube star?
No.
No idea. Wasn't there that guy who fought Tyson? I mean, like I don't know anything
Yeah.
about that. So, but like my son, he doesn't know. He every once in a while he gets a millennial one, but the unless it's history related, he doesn't get the Gen X ones, right?
Yeah.
And I do pretty decently in the baby boomers because my sisters were older, so was exposed to Beatles and more stuff like that. I think so. I do okay with that, but sometimes those go back into like the 50s.
Yeah.
So then it's like, no, not getting that one.
No.
I do pretty good in Gen X. Some of the, if it's the millennial stuff from like the 90s, I can get those if it, but even some of those I don't know, but I'd say my sweet spot is somewhere in the Gen X to early millennial. Um, my wife, even though she's Gen X, she's way at the end of it, so those questions are hard for her because for most of those she was very young.
Yeah.
So if it's like name the 1984 movie that nah, she's not gonna get that, right?
Yeah.
So but it's pretty fun. Just the questions and we kind of modified the game so that like if you consistently there's sections on the board where when you're in the section you have to get a millennial question or a boomer question or whatever.
Yeah.
You try it once, and if you don't get it, the next time your turn comes around, you can answer the similar question from your own generation,
Okay.
right? Because otherwise you'd be stuck, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
It's funny, one of a baby boomer one, this super thin British model from the 60s, blah, 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 with her nickname, right? Well, there's like I knew that answer, but not very many people who are Gen X would know that one because it was like she would have been famous like the year I was born,
Mm.
right? So it's like Gen X, but it's Twiggy. So that was like I don't know very many people who know about Twiggy,
Yeah.
right? But she had a run there in the 60s, I think, maybe up to the early 70s.
Mm.
And I probably know that from a documentary, not even firsthand accounts,
Mm.
type stuff.
Yeah.
But that's how it goes anyway.
Yeah.
And now it's funny because like, okay, so now the NFL, we're done now. This is it. This is the last of the run. Now there's nothing really to talk about until what, end of August,
Right. Yeah.
right? Preseason starts sometime towards the end of August. So it's kind of a dry period for football, college football as well, which is kind of a bummer. I'm not into the other sports very much like I used to be. It's just too much of a time
Right.
thing. And I think my brain is functioning more like my son's brain. It's like, sure, I could sit for 4 hours and watch the draft, or I could just wait and look it all up on my phone in like 10 seconds.
Exactly.
Why
Yeah.
am I wasting the time watching talking heads?
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't know. It's, I think there's a difference now. It's like if we're paying attention, we want to be coming at it very quickly.
Yeah.
Scores and news stories, and we don't want to sit around and whatever. But
Right.
if it's informal and casual and it can be sort of a background thing, then people love podcasts and right where it's 3 hours worth of something. It's so funny how that's
Yeah.
the dynamic. It just depends on the nature of the information that's being shared,
Right.
right? If it's news and facts, I can just look it up. I want it fast. Just ask, Chat GPT for the answer, right? If
Yeah.
it's but if it's somebody's like opinion and stories or whatever, and it can be on in the background or while I'm in the car, now I like
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of how I was with baseball. I would just have a baseball game on while I'm, you know,
yeah, doing other stuff, right?
and then, yeah.
And if
'Cause-
you look at fans at baseball games, they're all looking at the phone.
yeah, yeah, it's so long. It's hard. It's hard to stay focused that long for.
I'm surprised that it's interesting though. I just saw the story, the Savannah Bananas or whatever they're called, the minor league team. They just sold out like Clemson Stadium for like 80,000 for a minor league baseball game.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, that is.
Uh, hello, expansion city, right? It sounds like that's a city who could take an expansion team,
Yeah.
um, which is
Speaking,
interesting, right?
we need to get Arizona's needs to get a hockey team back.
Yeah, we need to get a hockey team back. They should be in Flagstaff where it's colder.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, uh, I had a joke. I think I shared it with you. Like I always, when I'm watching like the NFL draft, whether I'm always trying to come up with some kind of joke, right? So when it got to the start of the fifth round of the draft and Sanders had been drafted, my joke was with the 100th pick in the USFL 2025 draft, the Birmingham Stallions select Shedeur Sanders, quarterback, Colorado. Right? I'm like, he's headed for the USFL, and that still could be, or the Toronto Argonauts, right?
Oh yeah.
Canadian League. Uh, that still could happen, right? Like
Yeah.
there's five quarterbacks in Cleveland. It's no even a guarantee that'll make the team.
No, no. And he's got to prove it. So,
I
Dad,
mean, maybe somebody would if he shows up and works hard and can, and Cleveland says no, somebody might take him. If he's a prima donna and talking trash in the media and saying he's better than all those guys or whatever, that's it. His career's over. Nobody's going to pick him up,
yeah.
right? If like Cleveland cuts him and nobody and he was a jerk while he was there, that's it. Second chance, too bad.
Yeah. Or if he gets injured, if he
It's
gets,
look. I mean, look at Colin Kaepernick.
yeah,
You turn into a jerk, that's it. Your career's over.
yeah.
Those NFL owners, they're not playing, right? This is $1 billion thing that nobody's got time for that drama.
It's about wins and losses.
Yep.
You're
It's a
not,
business. It's
yeah.
not show friends, it's show business. As Bob Sugar from Jerry Maguire said, right? That's actually my favorite line. Everybody's show me the money is the great line from Jerry Maguire, but I like it's not show friends, it's show business.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
uh they should have made a whole separate movie just about Bob Sugar, I think. That because that was a great character, right?
Yeah.
Jay Moore was the actor, and he's a hilarious comedian.
Yeah.
He has a stand up and stuff, and he has one of those jokes where he's like, "Man, have you seen that drummer from Nelson? She is hot." And
Yeah.
then another guy goes, "That's a guy, dude." And he's like, "Oh, even so."
Yeah.
That's a Jay Moore joke. I thought that was pretty. He had
Yeah.
a little window too, right? It's like that came out, movie made him famous, stand up. He was on HBO and did some other shows and stuff. And have you heard from him in the last 20 years? Nope.
No,
It's like,
no.
why does that happen? Like I was thinking there was an actress that was in some movie and the other night, and then it's like, where has she been for 25 years?
Yeah.
Right? She had a run in the early 90s. Madeline Stowe.
Hmm.
Have you heard of anything with Madeline Stowe in it since like 1992?
No.
So I looked it up. I'm like, where did she go? Right. So it says she's married to Brian Benben, who's also an actor, and they live on a ranch in Texas, and she'd rather spend her time on the ranch with her family.
You know,
And
yeah, I'm hearing there's stars that are doing that now. There's
yeah,
this isn't for me. This is, toxic, this lifestyle.
toxic, shallow, uh, debased, right? Like I mean, it's terrible. Like I saw this movie. It's on Amazon. I might have mentioned on a previous podcast. It's called Blink Twice. Holy cow, you should watch it.
Hmm.
It's very true to life, I think, with a certain Epstein, and that whole story and an island and whatnot. It's fascinating and it seems very true. And I think it is. I think the director, who's somewhat famous, it's a female. It's her attempt to tell the world this is what actually goes on. It's hard to watch and it's also fascinating.
Hmm.
It's called Blink Twice. It's on Amazon. Um, so when you're on Amazon, you can watch the movie and then you can get my feel good book called Hindsight, a
That's right.
Gen X life, right?
There you go.
Um, and see that bike? Yeah, I don't know if you can see it there,
Oh yeah.
but that is like my friend Ben said he had that exact bike, like that
Yeah.
exact one. I had this exact bike. Mine was red. That's
Yeah.
the only difference. This is the exact bike I had. It's a
Yeah.
coaster bike. I took the fenders off. This one has fenders on it, and I think I took them off, like
Yeah.
mud flap fenders, right? But I think at some point I took them off. But I had the banana seat,
Oh yeah.
uh, the
Yeah.
whole deal, the big handlebars, right? Like this. Those
Yeah.
are the coolest thing ever. A Schwinn Stingray, I think, is they had that model looked like that. There was a couple other brands. Very popular bike, and it usually was laying down in the front yard of my house. That's
Yeah.
where you kept your bike, in the front yard.
Yeah.
Nobody
Same.
stole it, and your dad every once in a while would trip over it and tell you to put it in the garage, you know. And so when you go into the garage, you leave a huge skid mark, right? Like this is what I used to do. You get up, get up ahead of speed on the bike, and with a coaster bike, it was great because you could just jam on the coaster brake and just leave a big skid, right?
Yeah.
And when you had the friends over, and I mentioned this in the book too, like, on the weekend there would be like 20 big black skid marks on the dry in the garage floor because it's slippery, You
Yeah.
could leave these 20-foot long black skid marks. It was the coolest thing ever until your dad saw them and
Yeah.
didn't think that was so cool.
Oh man. Yeah, I do
So,
the same type of bike I had. I remember I had Indian like a headdress on the seat, which it
oh,
was
really? That's cool.
politically incorrect.
Yeah.
I'm sure now they'd have to, cover it with something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, same thing.
And yeah, those bikes are awesome. I would still love to have that bike
Yeah.
just for like if somebody I saw that there's you can get them on eBay. Some people still have them. And
Yeah.
the thing is, it's like, why would that why would that bike ever go away? Like, how does a bike cease to be good? Right? Like it seems like that's the kind of thing that would last almost forever. It's made
Yeah.
out of steel,
Great for
right? And yes, get new tires and stuff and maybe, freshen up the seat. My
yeah.
best friend had the big sissy bar on the back, right? That way
Yeah.
up, which was kind of cool. And then every once in a while, I like tag a flag on it and
Yeah.
stuff. And
Yeah.
that was pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
Uh, all right. Well, one last shameless pitch. There's still time. Like, get it right now
Fun.
on Amazon, paperback, hardcover, Kindle. I like Kindle because I don't like, for the most part, but I did get a physical copy. Uh, some people like that. Uh, they're not super expensive, but Kindle's cheaper and Audible is cheaper. You miss the if you get Audible though, you miss the fun photos. In fact, there's a photo of us on our national park tour in here. They're black and white, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Uh, so anyway, make sure to pick it up, and I'll expect your Amazon review to show up anytime this week, Brady. Just
Yes.
keeping your feet on the fire there.
Yes.
Uh, that's what helps have it show up in people's searches more, is if there's more reviews. That's how the algorithm works.
Gotcha.
But anyway, that's cool. All right. I want to remind everybody to hit like and subscribe on the Gen X Rewind. And by now, you could find us on YouTube and Spotify and on X and Amazon Music and iHeartRadio. And also, I just realized because we're on Amazon Music, it means we're also on Audible. So if you have a subscription to Audible, you can listen to our podcast there if that's your favorite place to consume uh, uh, spoken books or podcasts. They have them on Audible as well. So our podcast is on Audible. So, which is pretty cool. And I just got off the phone with Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and they are dialing in UHF channel 75 for us even as we speak. So
Awesome.
everyone in Cedar Rapids,
Well,
uh, get that UHF dial. Now your main dial, remember how people used to explain this? So your main dial needs to be on 13, or if your TV has one labeled U, then the bottom knob you turn 75 notches to channel 75, right? I think UHF went up to what, 81, something like that.
yeah,
Do you
yeah,
remember?
yeah. That sounds right.
And it was usually like somewhere in the 20s was where the wrestling channel
Oh
was.
yeah,
It was like religious programming and professional wrestling were usually
right,
somewhere in the 20s or 30s.
right. Must see TV.
Yeah, absolutely must see TV, right? Get out the UHF antenna, right? Because they're different. Like the VHF is the rabbit ears, and then the circle thing was the UHF, right?
Yeah,
I think that's how that worked.
yeah. Oh man.
Man, that's just like it's so funny thinking back, right? And all of our
Yeah,
TVs, like I said last time, this is what our TVs look like, right?
man. Yeah.
That was
Oh
that
yeah.
was a classic TV from the 70s. And it weighed like 6,000 pounds and took four guys to lift it up and put it on a TV stand,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
There's like 40 pounds of glass in that tube.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember we'd always have two different things we were watching, and whenever there's a commercial, you have to jump up, go up to
Click,
the
click.
TV, turn it, you go back down. I mean, yeah, it wasn't that long ago we were doing that.
It doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but like I don't know if my son's ever seen a knob TV.
Right,
He
right.
did see a tube TV though. I had an old Sony 27-inch tube TV that he had played video games on when he was like 4,
Okay.
and then we got rid of it. So it,
Um,
now it's like those TVs. You have to like 6 people to put it into your car, and then you take it to a special disposal place because it's loaded with asbestos. I don't know,
yeah,
right? Like what? It's got these tubes in it, and
yeah.
oh my gosh. So, in
Uh,
fact, I talk about that in the book
yeah,
about my favorite TV and the knobs, and that I would sit down on the floor in front of it and watch TV like 6 inches away
yeah.
from this thing that was emitting 400 rads, right? It's like you had to take what's that stuff you have to take during a nuclear war? Iodine.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
you had to
right.
take iodine to watch TV so you didn't get, you know,
Kill your
your
thyroid.
insides. It's like sitting next to an X-ray machine your entire
Yeah,
life.
jeez.
All righty, Brady. It was good chatting with you again, and hope you guys have a great week. We're headed into May, which is how is that possible?
I know.
Um, just amazing, and it looks like the weather's going to stay nice here
Good.
in Arizona for another week, and that's great. This time of year it was only like 70 today, so that's amazing this
Beautiful.
time of year. So for Brady and myself, we thank you for tuning in. We love having you as our guest in 1975, and we hope you have fun this week. But just remember to be home before the street lights come on.
That's right.
Ready?
That's
All
right.
right, Brady. We'll talk to you again next week, hopefully.
All right, sounds good.
All right, we'll see you. Bye bye.
All
See you,
right.
everybody.